What's up, guys? This is Brad at Hourglass Fab, and I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to another Weekends Away episode. It means a lot to me, so thank you very much. This Weekends Away episode, we're going to be headed to London. We're going to be talking with Pete, Metal Bender UK on Instagram. Go check him out if you haven't already. Awesome guy, very inspiring. So, let's jump into it.
You start to respect the fact that you've looked at something with your eyes, you've interpreted it with your brain, and you've transmitted that into your hands, and that is incredible. There isn't an instruction manual for creativity. That's something that you need to work on and develop. Every single cut, every single weld, every single process of what you've made is you. It's not anybody else. It's something that you've done. You've taken a raw material and you've turned it into an actual thing. It's incredible.
Have you ever tried something that you told yourself over and over again that you couldn't do, something you wanted to just sit out of and just let other people do it in front of you, but someone pushed you to try this new thing and it was scary and out of your comfort zone, but you did it anyway and you did a good job and it felt great. It felt like you could actually be good at this thing that you feared for so long. If you have that burning desire deep inside to use your two hands to create, push that to the limit.
I'm Pete Barnes, also known as Metal Bender UK, and I work here at the Horsham Forge, have done for the last 10 years as a welder fabricator. What I do here, pretty much everything from sharpening a set of shears, detailed stainless steel welding, fabrication of gates, railings, right up to specialist one-off parts. TIG welding is something that I've focused on personally in my career, certainly for the last 5 years. I first picked up the TIG torch pretty much within the first few weeks of starting here, and I haven't really put it down in a sense ever since that. And it's no longer just picking up a torch and striking an arc. It's really thinking about it and putting a lot more groundwork in before you even get to the stage of hitting that switch. But it gave me the reason to put the practice hours in and to work hard on it for my own reasons. I like to consider that I'm adequate enough at everything that I do to keep me employed, and it seems to work so far, and long may it continue. It's a cool feeling to sit down at work one day and know that you're making something that you don't just have to do, but you want to do. And although you'll never be really satisfied 100% with what you do, none of us are, and that's the thing, we are our own biggest critics. Other people won't necessarily see the flaws that we see. We can run a set of welds and we can see every single difference in the size of the dimes, and you can see where the colours change, and you knew that you slowed down a little bit there and it went a little bit hot or a little bit cold or a little bit too much filler, or you might have stroked the puddle with the tungsten, and you'll know that, and other people won't. But I think that you need to be satisfied with what you're doing at every stage and knowing that you're doing the best that you can do. And then you start to realise that everything was made by somebody. Everything, every tool, every piece of equipment, it was thought of, it was designed, it was manufactured, and we do the same things, maybe on a smaller scale, maybe on a slightly less significant scale, but it's how you feel about it personally, and that's something that I've always really enjoyed, is the fact that I can be happy with what I did, and that's a sense of satisfaction that I've never had from anything else before. And we can all do it. You can make an ashtray, you can make a bridge, you can make a spaceship. Everyone's got to make something, and we could all be a part of it. It's just that realising that it can go from your head to your hands, and that's a pretty cool thing, pretty powerful too. You can learn anything, you can develop any skill, but you'll never get a level of satisfaction that you do from helping somebody else to get on the same track. To be able to say to someone, look, try this, have a go at that. one of the most controversial pieces of advice I've ever given anybody, and I give it to just about everybody. They all want to run the dimes, they all want to see the colours and the shine and the rainbows, and you say, you know, what they think they're ending up with is a burnt piece of steel or stainless, and you tell them to turn the power up, move faster, you know, don't hang around on the material, and all of a sudden these people are jumping for joy because they've got they've had that key to unlock that particular door. And I think there should be more of it. My go-to cup for stainless steel, it would be a real hard toss-up between my 8 Pro or my Fupa 12, both from Furic. Make exceptional cups. I know that there are others out there, and I've got nothing against them personally, but I've had nothing but good experiences with the Furic cups, and they get all my work. My 8 Pro, I have one. I've had it for 3 years now, and the poor thing's got cracks and chips in it, but it's holding together, and I'll be gutted when that one goes. But yeah, that'll be 8 Pro first. If I need a little bit more, then we'll go for the Fupa 12. But I don't generally need to go bigger than that. What is my favourite tungsten and why? Pretty much everything is, for me, 2.4mm tungstens. I do occasionally use a 1.6 as well at home on some very light stuff, but not too often. Of the type of tungsten, I personally prefer a multi-mix. The Welding multi-mix, the pigtails are just perfect on practically everything. My speed glass, I absolutely love it. It is something that I was not in any way apprehensive about spending the money on, because you know that saying that you have one set of eyes, you have the Mark 1 eyeball, and you're not going to get a Mark 2. You know, it's truer than anything, and in our industry I think it's really important. You know, you might learn your trade using your ears, but you will learn it using your eyes, and you've got to look after it at the end of the day. Of course, people have had bad reactions, bad experiences with everything. You always get a bad apple in a bunch, but my XXI has never let me down once, and I'm pretty happy to stick with that. So, how did weld porn influence me to be a better welder? I remember once seeing a post on Facebook that was liked by a friend of mine or something, how these things go around, and it was from a page called Weld Porn, and I clicked on it, went through it, had a look, and thought, okay, this is insane. This isn't welding that I've ever seen before. It's kind of a different world, and I looked at these things and I just assumed that they were using voodoo, some black magic. Maybe this is all photoshopped or CGI or something. I couldn't actually believe what I was seeing from some of these pages, these posts that were on this weld porn site, and that was what pushed me to ask questions, which is, I can't stress how important that is, to ask questions. We've all got them, and if you haven't got an immediate reference, then you ask people, and people are mostly happy to talk about it. Instagram was a complete revelation, in all honesty. The frequency of the posts, the fact that I could hone in on a community of people that I would go on to look up to and aspire to, and then to ask questions. And that sort of opened my eyes to the fact that these guys were using the same type of equipment, the same type of material. Their argon is pretty much exactly the same as it is in the UK. And you know, when you realise that, once you get it into your head that you can do these things, weld porn doesn't just become a page that you look to be impressed with. It becomes a resource in itself, a place that you go to learn things and to speak to people and to interact. And within the industry in the UK, it has become something that most people know about. What was really interesting to me, though, was the exposure to other UK welders that I hadn't seen before. And you don't realise that these things do exist in your own country, in your county, in your town. There's a guy down the road who I've known for a few years, and I always knew that he could weld, but it wasn't until I saw his work on Instagram that I knew he could weld. And yeah, I've seen his work, well, you know, and it's weld porn, absolutely. I think so much of it is, and And flash forward a few years, and I get a repost on the weld porn page, and I didn't sleep that night. I don't think. I think that was a crazy experience. Getting into the industry, there are two options when it comes to learning any trade. You can go to school, and there are a lot of really good schools available, especially in the States. There are in the UK as well. There's some local colleges that run courses, etc. But you might find yourself in a situation where that's just not an option. You have bills to pay. You need to keep working, and to take time out to go to school isn't an option. And I definitely do fly the flag for self-taught. And I will use that term, and I'll explain it a little bit, that there is a difference. I'm not saying that I sat down and learned everything on my own. I picked people's brains. I work with some great guys here, some people who've been doing it for decades, and they certainly were, intrinsic in my learning. And then that gives you the incentive to push yourself and to discover these things and to learn. And school is a wonderful grounding if you can get it. If you are in a situation, if you're young, if you're looking at possibilities of getting into a trade, then if that's a possibility, then do it. It won't hurt you. It certainly won't set you back. You shouldn't think that you can't do something because you're not in a position to go to school and to learn these things the way that you think that you should. If you're capable enough to read, to look, to observe, to try out different things and to practice, then you are more than capable of getting to a level where your work will be, I'd say, adequate. It's probably not even enough. It's beyond adequate. It's something that you can be proud of, and you can rub shoulders with the big boys. And it doesn't take school for everybody. I can't listen to my own voice on camera. It's one of those things, people get that. They hear themselves on camera and it sounds completely different to how it is and how you listen to it in your head. I'm going to be sitting there listening to this like, man, do I really sound like that? I should have put on an accent. Nobody on Instagram's heard me speak yet. Very few people on Facebook could remember how I sound. So.